Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out the Archetype Tim Henson plugin over at Neural DSP. Really excited to show you this one, especially me being a huge Polyphia nerd. It's only fitting that I do a review of this awesome amp simulator. So let's dive right in. So once you get it all downloaded and everything, you'll bring up either your plugin version in your DAW, or you'll bring up the standalone, which is nice. It comes with a standalone version too, and your interface is going to look like this. So first thing first for me, I go to the bottom left down here, and then you're gonna see the little tuning fork. You get a nice tuner here, and so that'll mute your guitar, or you can unmute it if you want to. Normally I just mute it, and so you check your tuning here. My E string was in tune. It's close enough, whatever. So there's your tuner, so that's nice. So the first amp here, you have your little selector row up here. We're going to get into all this, but so right here, this is where you pick the amps out. So this is the acoustic style amp, and so this is going to look like this. So you have your gain, bass, middle, treble, all of your adjustments that you need for an amp. This little button here, that just turns the amp off, and then you get direct signal. So then up here you get input mode. So I'm just on mono. I don't have stereo set up currently, so I just use the mono input. Input and then output. This is like additional gain staging tools. For me, I'm just worrying about the gain stage at the focus, right? So your little knob, whatever you have on your audio interface, I'm just worried about the gain there. But if you need extra, you can turn this up and down. Let's just leave it back at 0. This part's pretty important, the gate. So this is a noise gate, and they just have it in a dial here instead of a pedal. So if we turn this down, you can't hear much, but we'll get back to that when we get to the higher gain amps. So let's take a look. So once again, this is the clean amp. We're gonna go on to the white amps. This is like the rhythm amp. That's what it sounds like right now. So if I want to try to dial this in a little bit, might turn my gain up, mids down a little bit, bass up, treble up, presence up, level up maybe. And so then our third amp we can look at is going to be the lead amp. So this third amp here very much follows Scotty's lead sound and Tim's as well. And so we'll get into some presets later, which is a really cool feature of this. So all of the amps you can see have the same kind of dials, a little different interface. The rhythm amp, the white one, has a channel 2, which gives it a little bit more oomph to it. So like channel 2 is going to give you, and then channel 1, a little bit more toned back there. So starting with the clean amp, let's take a look at some of the pedals that are offered within this suite. So we have pedals on the front end. This is your boost, compressor, and your overdrive. So I'm clicking this left symbol up here. Go down to the right, this is your timing effects. You have delay, chorus, and reverb. So the reverb's really nice on this. So you can kind of really go for that playing God style sound if you dial in this amp a little bit. It's got that nice hall reverb. It's a really good reverb. So we can take a look at the delay here. So a nice delay sound. Obviously you can make all these adjustments on tempo and time. You can even tap your tempo right here, and then that'll adjust it for you. Chorus effect, let's take a look at that. So without chorus we have with chorus. extreme if you dial it up. So let's take a look at these timing effects with the lead amplifier for something a little different. So now you can start to hear a little bit of this. Some extra computer sound noise of the aliens communicating or something. So go to the gate up here, and you're gonna want to mess around with this. If you do too much gate, you won't. It's gonna sort of kill your tone a little bit and make the reaction to the string a little strange. So if I turn all the way down though, you can hear this endless sort of static. So find a sweet spot. It'll be different for everybody. Let's try like a, I don't know, negative, we'll go like 33 maybe. So that's the chorus effect on the lead amp. If we take a look at the reverb on the lead amp, sounds pretty nice. For all of these, I'm using my Schecter. Obviously, I got the EMG 8189 set up, and I am just bridge pickup, and I have it pretty much everything maxed out, and then I have the pickup switched to fully active. So that's just so you know what I'm using. So now let's get a little bit even more in depth. Let's go to our front end pedals. Let's keep a little bit of reverb on. That sounds good. So on the front end, we have a boost. So I'll play a little riff for you. Here's with boost, with no adjustments. So you can change, I'm gonna up the gain, up the level, a little more bass, a little more treble. So that's obviously going to boost your signal on the front end. Watch out for your gain signals and everything. Make sure you don't clip when you add that boost in. So now the compressor, you can see I've already messed with this one. So this is going to sort of put you into like a more condensed dynamic range. So your softs will become louder, and then your louds will kind of be slightly limited. I'm not an expert on compression. I'm starting to figure it out. So this can basically make you a little bit more consistent in terms of volume. So we slap that on. Well, without it, let's take a look. So with it on, it kind of sounds like that. It's a tricky thing to really understand, and you might not be able to hear it that well right now. But if you change the attack to slow, that pretty much just changes the amount of time it takes for the compression to like affect the tone. So there's your compressor pedal, and then overdrive pedal. So you'll probably spend a lot of time with this one. So if I do a riff like this, sounds like that. So once again, in the overdrive pedal, you can change the drive, turn that up, turn the level up. You can make the tone a little different if you want to. So moving on, there's your three pedals beforehand. We can move on. We were talking about the amps already, and let's talk about now the cabinet selection. So in here, depending on which amp you select down here, you go to the white. The black amplifier actually does not have you do any cabinet selection stuff. So if you go back to our cabinets and things here, so you can change. If you move it to the right here, you'll move the microphone. So check this out, microphone to the center of the amp. That gets you normally a more like clear, direct sound. And then if you move it to here, that moves it away from the center. But then if you go down, that'll move the microphone away from the amp, giving you less direct, sound, and then moving you towards the center. So normally I like mine just as close to the center as possible. Obviously everybody has their own taste, and there's really not much of a right answer. Move the microphone around, see what you like the best. You can also go right up here. You can select the different microphones from each side, right? So you get a ribbon, you get a dynamic condenser, another condenser. So there's a bunch of different microphone selections. So moving on from the cabinet settings, we'll just go in order here. Now we have the Multivoicer. So this thing's really cool. So I'm not going to use the MIDI option. This plugin and this standalone amplifier has a whole suite of MIDI friendly stuff. I'm not going to be able to cover any of the MIDI stuff. I haven't gotten into it, but you can use the Multivoicer without the MIDI. And so here's what something's going to sound like without the Multivoicer. Now with the Multivoicer, so it's really cool. It's like a harmonizer for the guitar. Now there's a lot of settings in here. So if you're a little bit of a music theory nerd, that's going to be helpful. You can go through here, select your root, basically your key, right? And so let's say your root's D. You want to pick D. Well, let's do an easy one. Let's do A minor. So that's going to be down here. So we got our A minor, like pentatonic. And then you can change your voicing library. So if you're like a little bit more of a music theory nerd, you can go through here, choose an open triad. So this is just fifths, roots, third, fifth, and it gives you the order that it's doing the thing in. You can pick seventh chords. You can pick tensions, tone clusters. So if you're not much of a music theory person, it might be better to start out with like the triads, and those are just going to sound a little better. And then if you're really just wanting to get some crazy sounds, and maybe you're a music theory person writing some specific stuff, and you want a open seventh chord or a segundal tone cluster, sus power chords, fourths, big unison. So like big unison, for example, that's just going to be. That's a bunch of A's all over the octaves basically there. Now, not only can you pick a specific chord, let's do an open seventh chord here. So that sounds really good. Really cool, that kind of lo-fi vibe. So you can change the interval. You'd be like, I don't like that seventh chord. And you go in and you change the interval to like sixth, fourth, 10th, anywhere. You can make it below your root note. You can change the level of that specific voice, even like right here or with the dial. And then you can also change the panning, right? So this will make it all kind of closer, farther apart. So let's just compare. This sounds like. Multivoicer is probably like the most worthwhile part of the whole thing. We haven't gotten to the presets though; those are really cool too. Stick around. You guys can mess around with that. There's a lot you can do with the Multivoicer. If I spread them out, really cool sounds from this Multivoicer. I'm gonna turn that off for now. So going on, now we have the EQ, which is kind of fourth in the chain. I could have talked about it sooner, but well, here it is. So if you want the EQ on, bam, there you go. So I know a lot of times people are gonna cut off their low end pretty good. That's what I do. Make that a little bit lower just for some like lead stuff. And obviously, once again, I'm not an EQ master or anything. I'm still finding my way in that department. Cut the super highs a little bit. Do it, sounds good. there's your EQ. And now for the last thing we can get into here is the presets. So these are really cool. So just go back to wherever, click on this default. So if you click on artists, this is going to give a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of these guitarists from these other bands that somewhat are affiliated with Polyphia. And then you can go to the factory settings. This is where you get Tim Henson settings. So there's this dark fantasy one, which is like super cool. So obviously that's using the Multivoicer. Let's just go through these quick here. Float. So some delay and like that organ in the background, really cool. The goat effect here. That's all I can play. I'm not going to try anymore, but really nice. ABC, you can probably get that tone in there somewhere if you dial it in a little bit more. OD, so I can't play this one at all. So. Got like a lower octave in there. The other one I like to use a lot is I go into the Scotty LePage metal lead. So that's a good one. You can see I need a little bit more gate on that. So that's a pretty good lead sound from there. There's so many settings on this. I don't think I could possibly hit them all here. These are the Neural DSP settings. So these are like just ones that Neural DSP came up with. They're not really affiliated with any specific artist. So steel pan drum is kind of fun. Another cool one in there is the new Tristram, so kind of like a Diablo. I have to pick kind of a diminished chord though, but let's do a minor 7 or something. A lot of delay, a lot of echo on that one, so pretty cool, pretty cool. So this plugin is jam-packed with a ton of stuff. And so I got it on a Black Friday deal. It was like 50% off. So if you go on to Neural DSP's website, right now they have the Mesa Boogie release that just came out. I got to check that one out for sure. You can get a 14-day free trial of any of their amp plugins. Maybe not the Mesa because it just came out. But go to plugins here. So right now you have, free trial of the Mesa. You get free trials of any of this. The free trial is going to last 14 days. Then you need to figure out how to do your license thing. So the Tim Henson Archetype, 119 euros right now. So the Black Friday sale was like 50% off is when I got it. Really cool stuff. And obviously they have a ton of stuff on their website. So go grab some free trials. Check them out. These plugins are awesome. I need to get some more myself. So that's my review on the Tim Henson Archetype from Neural DSP. I think you guys should check it out, especially if you're a Polyphia fan. You want to get those tones. This is the best place to start. I hope this video was valuable to you. If it was, make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure to check out a few more videos so you can learn some more guitar stuff. Thanks again for watching today's video, guys. I hope to see you on the next one.